Hey everybody, this is Melissa Thomas with C2C Stamping, and I am so excited that you're here today to learn a little bit about stamping. And even if you're an advanced stamper, I hope you'll learn some tricks and things today, and you'll get to see a lot of new product, which is exciting. So I'm Melissa Thomas from C2C Stamping, and I'm featuring the Seaside Wishes stamp set because, well, it should be obvious, right? I'm obsessed with all things ocean and sea related, and I'm super excited that you're here with me today. This is the card that we're going to make. We're focused today on beginning stamping, so I'm gonna show you how to make this card, some minimal supplies that you need in order to do it, and then I have a video later where I'm gonna talk a little bit about embossing folders. I'll showcase the 3D embossing folder, the hybrid embossing folder that actually comes with this stamp set. There's dies and an embossing folder. So it's a nice bundle. Let me show you those two pieces. We are not going to be using them today because I wanted to focus on beginning stamping. But this is the embossing folder that goes with the Seaside Wishes, and it's a hybrid embossing folder, which means that the die actually fits in here. So let me show you the dies as well. So this is the dies for Seaside Wishes, and it has a couple for the starfish, a couple of like detailed pieces for the sand dollars, some of these cool kind of wave seaweedy pieces, and then it's got this larger one. So let me show you how this one fits in. So the way that hybrid embossing folders work is that the die just locks into the stamp set or into the folder. And I always like to kind of play around and see which side it locks into. It usually locks in to the side that has the Stampin' Up logo. So then you can place a piece of paper in here and you can run this through your die cut machine, and you're gonna run it through with the die side cutting down. And then when you do that, you're gonna come with some really beautiful die cut and embossed pieces. So this is a really beautiful technique, and I hope that you'll check out my embossing folder video for that. For this video, we're gonna work on this card. The minute I saw the Country Woods paper, I knew I wanted to feature it in a class with Seaside Wishes because I think all the papers are really beautiful. They're weathered woods. And this is the piece that we're going to use today, but I wanted to show you all of the patterns. So Country Woods, so you've got some really nice distressed pieces here. Let me kind of slide this down. And you've got some really dark wood grains. You've got some light ones. You've got pieces that are, this is gorgeous. This is going to make such a beautiful beachy card. I'm so excited about that. Some really pretty variation in the papers. They used petal pink, and we'll use a little bit of petal pink today as well. I think that's a really nice highlight color. Nice weathered, like whitewashed woods. This one almost looks like a marble to me. It's really pretty. So Country Woods is the DSP that we're going to use today. And I want to show you how, with just a little bit of stamping and a little bit of DSP and some linen thread, you're going to make a beautiful, beautiful card. So we're going to keep the stamp set here because I want to make sure that we've got that. I'm going to push this out of the way. All right, so on my trimmer, I have cut a standard card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it 4 1/4 to make my card base. I'm going to use my bone folder to just crease that down so it's nice and flat. I've also cut a piece of the Designer Series paper. I cut a 1-inch strip, and then I cut it to 5.5, just so that it'll come right along this edge. Now, I'm not going to actually glue that down yet. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna stamp some pieces first. So when we're stamping on our card base, we generally want to keep it nice and flat so we get a really nice stamped image. We're going to use, this is the new Basic Beige cardstock, which I think is a nice sand color, and we're going to use Basic Beige ink. So we've got our ink, and we're going to ink up our stamp. These are photopolymer stamps, so you can see where you're stamping. And with a photopolymer stamp, you're going to want to hold for maybe 1, 2, 3, and then lift. And then I'm going to add a little one here. The ink just needs time to come and settle and run off. And so 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do this. Now I want to make sure that this one's over a little bit, but I don't want it to go on the back. So I'm going to make an exception to my own rule, and I'm going to hold it over here. I'm going to keep it folded, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to get this guy. I'm going to rotate it just so to make sure that they don't all look the same. And then in the stamp set, there are a couple of stamps that are kind of texture pieces. So these are cool, like sea glass pieces. You could do these in some really pretty, like pool party, or some of the blue inks. The new Summer Splash would look beautiful. This is just a little sand speckle. And so we're going to speckle. And I'm going to rotate it just so that you can't tell. I will say, as far as texture stamps go, this is probably one of the finest textures, speckle sand stamps that I've ever seen. I don't think we've had one quite this light and fine. And you don't want it everywhere, and you don't want it super consistent. You kind of just want to be, you know, random about it, and that's fine. I'm going to go probably to areas where I don't even need to be, but that's okay. But that's a really nice texture piece. Okay, so now we're going to glue our piece of DSP here, and I've got to kind of decide, do I want to do the white piece at the bottom, or do I want to do the white piece at the top? And I think I'm going to do the white piece at the top. For some reason, it looks a little weird to me on the bottom. I'm just going to use my Tombow mono glue because it's a reasonable adhesive, it's affordable, and it gives me an extra second to move things around. Oh, remember I said white at the top, right? All right. It gives me an extra second to move things around. So if things aren't lined up exactly where I want them, like right on the edge, I have an extra second to kind of move things around. Nice. And you just need a little bit of that. Little goes a long way. All right, so we're going to use the linen thread. I love our linen thread. If they ever got rid of it, I would be very sad. And I'm going to kind of hold a tail here that's reasonable for me to tie a bow. And I'm going to wrap around, and then I'm going to wrap around again. And then I'm going to make another tail about the same length. And I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. So I don't know about you, but growing up, my mom always was like, Melissa, come here. And she would have me come place my finger on her knot for her bow tying. We tied a lot of bows. My mom wrapped a lot of packages. She was a lovely, she was very good at gift wrapping. But I don't have an extra person in the house. You could use our tweezers to hold your place if you wanted to do that. I have just learned to put my finger here, tie my knot here, and kind of tie it around my finger and then get it as tight as I can. So on the inside of the card, it will have a little bit of that twine. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think anybody will be upset about that. And then I'm going to stamp a sentiment, and I'm going to adjust this up or down once we kind of have an idea of how big our sentiment is. So I'm going to use a piece of Petal Pink, and the sentiments in this set are really, really cute. Really sweet. Your friendship is the best gift. Love you. You absolutely made my day. And sometimes the simplest things mean the most. So I like that a couple of these fit well in this modern oval punch. And so I'm going to use the modern oval punch. I think that having a punch is handy because it makes it easier for you to, you know, have little popped up sentiments. And to me, it's the difference between like kind of a really flat card and like a really fancy, what people think are really fancy, right? All right, so I'm stamping this in basic gray. I always use the colors on the back of our DSP or on the online store to tell me kind of what inks I should be using. And so there were a lot of grays in this one. Gray granite, basic gray, smoky slate, crumb cake as well. So quite a few neutral colors, pool party, misty moonlight, and then of course the petal pink. So this paper is really, this DSP is really versatile and there's a lot of fun colors. All right, so that's a little crooked, but that's okay. We're gonna be fine. And then I'm gonna stamp a few of these little sand speckles on here. I'm doing this just to add a little bit of interest, and I think it might not be super noticeable. It might not be noticeable on camera at all, and that's okay. I still think it's cute. All right, so we're gonna pop that up on dimensionals, and so I think I want this bow to go a little bit higher. So I'm gonna take the whole set, and I'm very gently going to just kind of twist and pull just a little bit. I don't need it to go super far up, but just a little bit up. All right. And then I have found out that I tie my bows upside down, which is really weird. So I now just turn my paper upside down, and now my bows are right side up. When you're tying a bow with twine, it's important to not tighten it too fast or else it'll get all twisty. So see how I'm keeping it really loose, right? Which looks a little crazy right now. But when I get my ears to the right size, I'm like, okay, now I feel like that's perfect. Now I'm gonna tighten it up and it won't twist on me, which is really nice. And then I'm going to trim my ends. And I'm gonna use a couple of dimensionals. I do like to make a little, what I call like a little river or moat for my twine or ribbon. So I kind of keep the middle blank when I'm doing this. Partly because if I don't like where the bow is, I could still move it again if I wanted to, which is nice. All right, so let's put this card right side up so that I remember what we're doing. I'm gonna kind of tuck that under there. I think that looks super cute. And there we go. We have some really cute cards that were simple to make, and our friends at the coast are going to love them. For those of you who have ever actually held a sand dollar, a live sand dollar in your hand, it's a pretty miraculous thing to do. I've held both starfish and sand dollars and feel so blessed to have lived in Charleston and experienced the coast in that way. So hopefully you love Seaside Wishes and you enjoyed making a card with me. Super simple, right? But it's got some really nice features. Oh, this is actually, so I take my chamois and I cut it into fourths, and then I use that, this is like just wetted a little bit, and I use that to clean my stamps. I don't like the really big chamois because it doesn't have a place on my desk, but this one is just the right size. And you can get these little cases on Amazon. They're super cute. I just put my little sticker on the top because I think it's cute. But yeah, hopefully that kind of shows you the tools and tips and techniques that I think you need. I think every beginning stamper needs some glue and some dimensionals. I think these are the difference between, you know, a regular card and like a cool stepped up fancy card. Linen thread, which I think is like maybe $5 or $6. These are all really affordable tools and things that you can get, and you can make some really beautiful cards with stamps, ink, and paper. So thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful catalog launch. You enjoy looking at all of these beautiful things, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye y'all.